everybody, and welcome back. Mr. Smith here. So we are moving on from Google SketchUp for Schools, and we're actually going to move into Adobe Illustrator. So Adobe Illustrator is more of a graphics design software. However, it allows you to create vectors, which is what we're interested in the mechanical engineering field. All right, so I'm going to teach you how to actually use Adobe Illustrator to draw lines and then take those lines, convert them into vectors, and then export that as a .svg, which is then going to be used with our GlowForge machine or even our CNC machine. All right, so just to kind of give you a background, we're going to be doing this designing for our new GlowForge machine, which is a laser engraver. So I'm going to start by showing you a quick video exactly what that is.
Meet GlowForge, the 3D laser printer. Start with a design that you download or create. Choose from dozens of materials, even recycled cardboard. The laser cuts and engraves your design. It's precise to the width of a human hair, so it's easy to assemble remarkable things. Use your Mac, PC, or tablet to drag your design into place. Print from organic material like wood, leather, paper, cloth, even chocolate. Sometimes you don't want to design from scratch. Print from the GlowForge catalog. You can resize and personalize to make it perfect for you. Your design can be as simple as a photo. Your favorite apps like Photoshop and Illustrator can print directly to create physical objects. GlowForge cuts holes with such precision that you can lace up leather like a shoe.
All right, that should give you a basic idea. So this GlowForge is actually a CNC machine that uses a laser to cut our designs. So we're going to be using Adobe Illustrator, all right, which looks like this. So we're going to be using this to create our designs and actually perform our cuts. All right, so the first thing I want to do, all of you should pull up your Adobe Illustrator now. All right, it should be up. Pause me if not. So every time we work with the GlowForge, we're going to need to create a new file. So you're going to go to File, New, and it's going to pop up here. So I've already have mine created. So we are actually going to be printing on pieces of wood that are pre-made by GlowForge. So we've got 400 or 500 pieces of this. So we're going to use this until it runs out, and then we're going to use some different materials. All right, so this piece of board is actually 20 inches wide by 12 inches tall. So I need you to come over here, and whatever number's here, type 20, and then in height, make sure you have 12. All right, which will give us a landscape orientation, which is exactly what we want. All right, so once you've done that, go ahead and click the Create button. So for the GlowForge, we are always going to use 20 by 12 because those are the dimensions of this sheet of material that we're going to use. All right, so imagine this being your workspace. This is everything that you have to work. All right, most important thing, save. File, save. I'm just going to go ahead and call this YouTube video exemplar. All right, so once you save, you're just going to click OK. So what I'm going to do first, if you want to look at your It's Learning, you will see that these are all the things that I'm going to talk about in class. So I'm going to talk about them in this video. All right, number one, creating the GlowForge file, which I just showed you, 20 inch by 12 inch. So now we're going to talk about the toolbars, the layout, and adding the Pathfinder pane. All right, so this is our workspace, but we want to actually set up our work area. So what I want you to do is go up here to Window, and these are all the different toolbars, extensions, etc. that you can use. First things first, I want you to make sure that Control is checked. All right, so if I go to Window and make sure that Control is checked, you'll see that I get this toolbar up here. This is very useful for using your fill in your stroke, adjusting the size of your stroke, document setup. This is just a really good toolbar to have. Allows you to change a lot of things about your document quickly. All right, so I think I'm actually going to move my camera down here. All right, so Now I want you to go into Window, and when you go into Workspace, I want you to make sure you go to Layout. So you can look through these. This is the traditional. If I go into Workspace, you know, let's say I'm doing website design, they have a toolbar for that. But what we're working on is actually Layout. All right. So make sure you go to Window, and the toolbar that or the workspace that you have active is Layout. So I like everything that's here in Layout. I use Transform a good bit. I use swatches for changing the color. Pathfinder is very important. If you don't have Pathfinder, I need you to go to Window and go down to where it says Pathfinder and check that. So I just unselected mine. So I'm going to go back to Window and click Pathfinder. All right. Pathfinder is right there. Another one that I like to use is Align. So I'm going to Window, and then right here, this second one down is Align. All right, and it'll pop up here. All right, Align is very good, helps you center everything. All right, so the ones you need to have, or what you need to do, is make sure that your control is on, step one. Your workspace is set to Layout, and then Align, Pathfinder, and swatches are all active. All right, if you're ever working and you don't see one of the bars you want or the panes that you want, then you can go here to turn them on and off. You can actually click to rearrange these. So let's say that I want to move this up here. I can do that. Maybe I want Pathfinder and Align to be on the same area. Maybe I just want to get rid of that one and then move Pathfinder down here, so that way Align and Pathfinder are both. So you can rearrange all this. Notice that I accidentally deleted my color swatches, so I'm going to go back and turn off swatches and turn it back on. Well, where did my swatches go? Let me move this back up. All right, Window. Change my workspace back to Layout. So again, Workspace, Layout. Well, I lost my swatches, guys. Oh, there we go. Let me turn them. Is it saying that it's behind it? Oh, there they are. There it is. All right, so let me pull these. Yeah, just be careful. I covered up my swatches. Don't really want that. Don't want that. I'm gonna leave. All right, so I have everything I need. I have my swatches, Pathfinder, Align. All right, so if we take a look at what I'm talking about. So we created the file, we have our toolbars, layout, and Pathfinder pane. So now I want to talk about shapes. All right, so for the shapes, all right, if you go over here, you have the rectangle tool. All right, everybody knows what a rectangle is. So over here, we have these two squares. This one's called fill, if you hover over it, and this one's called stroke. So fill is the inside color, stroke is the outside. So if I click, like right now I have the fill active. If I click green, it'll change the inside. If I click on the stroke, see how the stroke went in front of the other color? Then I can change the outside. If you go up here to the top, that's why I like this control toolbar. If I increase this, it'll increase the actual size of my stroke. And of course, I can type in, you know, whatever I want here, 0.05. 0.125, whatever I want it to be. All right, so I got this nice little Christmas rectangle here. So let's use a different shape. If you go here and you right click, you can also use these shapes. So let's say I'm going to draw a star. But I didn't want my star to be that color, so I go here and maybe I change that to purple and the inside to gray. All right, so again, I'm just changing the fill and the stroke. Let's say I want a star that has more than just 5 points. So if you click and not click and drag, it'll bring up this little menu here, and you can set the radius of the star going left and right and up and down. So maybe I want a 2 by 0.5, maybe make this 3 so it's real weird, and let's give it 8 points. All right, crazy looking star, right? So let me go ahead and change the fill for that one. Make the inside orange and the stroke. Why not pink's kind of bright. Let's do black. All right, a little Halloween. We got a Christmas, a Halloween, and an RCA. All right, so while it's still highlighted, I can click and move. So I think this brings me into my next one. So I talked about shapes. I talked about fill and stroke. So selection and direct selection. There are 2 different arrows here. If you hover over them, the first one is the selection tool. The second one is direct selection. The first one allows you to click a shape and move it. You can even resize it. All right. Notice that when I was resizing, it did not keep the proportions. If you hold down Shift while you resize, it'll keep your proportions. See how it's keeping the proportions? So you got to hold down Shift to keep your length and width proportional to each other. All right, if you just click and drag aside, then it's not going to do that. So hold down Shift. All right. So I can click, I can drag all these. That's what the direct selection tool does. If you double click, then it'll actually allow you to go in here and you can like group things and work on one shape individually. Our other tool is this one. It's called, sorry, this one was selection, this one's direct selection. The selection tool allows you to actually go in here and you can grab on, you can see these little dots, right? There's a dot here and then there's also dots in here. So it creates these points that you can then grab and edit. All right, so notice that I click and grab this, and then there's this little dot here, and I can click and make it look like that. Same thing here, there's the dots here, and there's the dots on the inside. So there's the inside dots, there's these ones on the outside. Allows us to kind of curve our edges. All right, if you click on one of the anchors, it'll allow you to move it. Let's see what it does for the square. Okay, again, it allows us to kind of curve our edges if we want them curved. All right, so that's the difference between selection, you move, direct selection, you can actually manipulate this, this shape. So we went from a 8-sided star to this cool little shape here. All right, so let's move on to our next tool. So the alignment tools. So one of the toolbars I asked you to add was the align tool. And basically what it allows you to do, you know, let's say I'm trying to center this. Let's say I'm trying to center this, right? So I'm looking for the center, that looks close. And then I want to center this on top. Okay. Well, if I click on this shape here, the outside shape, I can actually go over here and I can click the horizontal align and the vertical align, and it'll, that way I know it's directly in the middle. If I go to the left or the right or the top or the down. All right, so if you're trying to put something in the top left corner, you're gonna go left and top. Bottom, you're gonna go right and bottom, or you can just put it right in the middle. All right, if I wanna put this right in the middle of this one, I do the same thing. And then maybe I wanna just kind of put the star right here. All right, so I've got this cool little, you know, maybe I'm making a logo or something. I don't know. Let's pretend I'm making a logo. So maybe I want to go in here and now put my name on it. So we have the text tool here. And the text tool allows you to actually just type text. So now that I have that text, let's Schmitter. All right, on the right side, actually on the top in your control bar, you can change your font size here and make it bigger. All right, once you have it to the size you want, you can adjust your fill and stroke up here on the top or over here on the right. Just kind of keeping with the same vibes. I think I'm gonna do a white inside. What would be a good stroke color here? Maybe gray again? I kind of like that. Then I'm gonna increase my stroke a little bit to maybe 0.08. That's a little too much. 0.03. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I have this now. One thing I can do, if you right click and say create outlines, then it becomes, instead of text, it becomes an actual image. It becomes a vector. All right, and once we have that, then we can just center it right in the middle. So I've got this cool little name. Again, if I want to resize, I'll hold down Shift, make it a little bigger. All right, I can probably move this up some. All right, and I've got this cool little, I guess it's a logo. So the next thing I want to show you is, so we've done selection, direct selection, and alignment. I went ahead and skipped to the text tool. Want to do a Pathfinder tool. All right, so this is the big one, guys. This is the one we use a lot when we're doing design work. So let's say that I'm going to use circles. So I'm going to go back here to the star tool and right click and say ellipse. And I'm going to draw a circle. I'm going to do, I don't know. I'm just going to pick a couple colors. I keep coming back to that orange. Let's do blue. All right, so I have this first circle, right? So I'm going to drag click and highlight my logo and kind of put it down here to the right. And now we're going to play with some circles. So I drew my first circle. Let's say I draw my second circle. I'm going to go ahead and change its colors over here in my swatches. If you click on it, you can bring up its dimensions. So maybe I want this to be a 3x3, so it's a perfect circle. So I created a new copy and I can delete this one. Actually, what's the color wheel? Do y'all even remember? I think it's RGB, red, there's green. So let's make the inside of this one red and the outside, I don't know, purple. And then let's make one more circle. So grab that circle tool and click, 3x3. The inside is gonna be blue. I think that's blue. And we'll make the outside yellow, why not? Oh. Right, so let's say I have these three circles on top of each other. That kind of looks like our old school color wheel. I'm actually gonna go and click this and make this a 3x3. That way they're all right, so all my circles are 3x3s. So let's say I have this, right? So what the Pathfinder tool does is it combines shapes. So let's say I select all three of these. If I go up here and I find my Pathfinder tool, all right, we have all these different tools within Pathfinder. The first one's called Unite. So if I click on that, it actually unites the three shapes and it takes the properties, the fill and stroke of whatever one is on top. So now if I move this one forward to the top, arrange, move to front, so now the blue and yellow is on top. If I do unite now, the whole thing's blue and yellow. All right, so it combines our shapes so that way, and then it takes the properties of the one that's on the top. So let's see what happens with my logo here. All right, I have this. It's hard to tell whether this is on top or this is on top. So when I click it, it actually looks like my name was on top. So Smitty is on the frontmost layer, so everything took its properties and then it united, which means that everything inside got deleted. All right, let's see what, let me bring that back. All right, our next tool right here is the minus front tool. All right, so it does exactly what its name says. It subtracts out whatever's in the front. All right, so to get rid of this and this, all right, you hit that, it subtracts it. Then we have our intersect. So it keeps where all the shapes are intersecting and gets rid of everything else. So all of these shapes intersect here. And finally, we have exclude. So it gets rid of the areas that they intersect, but keeps, it gets rid of all the areas that, it keeps all the areas that are intersected and gets rid of the exclusions. All right. So these are just kind of tools to help us unite. Why it's pretty cool is, let's say that I have a font. Let's see. Let's take the word believe. All right, I have this word believe, and then I go in here and let me find a, let's do this font. So I have this font here, and maybe I want to connect all my letters. Ooh. So I right click and create outlines. Then I can actually go in here and make my letters touch. All right, so you see how they're crossing each other now? So all I did was double click on the text. Double clicked on the text, so that way I could go in here and edit it all together. So now this entire word is touching. If I highlight the word and use this Pathfinder Unite tool, click the wrong tool. Okay. Well, that was supposed to work. But it should have united all the, it excludes just fine. Huh. Well, that's a bad example on the fly. Ignore that. All right, but it's this idea that you can actually unite your shapes. All right, so let's say maybe I just highlight these two and then hit it. So see how it united those and kept the properties of the one on top. Then maybe I highlight those two and it united those and kept the properties on top. But I kind of like the way my logo looks like that. All right, so that's just a little bit about Pathfinder, the shapes. I'll give you a good example of text later. I think maybe because there's so many overlaps, this didn't work. But again, guys, this is just kind of the basics here. We're going to be working through this over the next week or two. So in class, you are going to need to create a logo. It's almost like a logo, but you're just playing with these tools. So I want you to create two different shapes on your artboard, align both to the center so that they overlap, make one shape bigger than the other shape, use your Pathfinder tool to unite them, use your text tool, place your name, and then I want you to create a color scheme. All right, so again, that would look something like, maybe I have a circle. Hold on, I'm gonna go with nothing on the inside and a black stroke. And then maybe I want to use my polygon tool here. I'm going to use my selection tool to move it. All right, so this is just kind of an example. I want them to overlap, remember? So I need to make one a little smaller, a little bigger. So you're going to make them overlap. Something like that. Then you're going to go and use your Pathfinder tool to unite them. Then I want you to add some text and then play with your swatches, all right? So just follow those directions. You should end up with a nice looking, name logo type thing when you're done. So that's pretty much it for today. I will be back with some more videos with Illustrator as we work towards creating files for the GlowForge. All right, thanks guys.